Hello everybody, The Two for Life here, bringing you guys another blast from the past episode. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and actually I've only done one. This would be the second one, so I wanted to do another one involving the hero archetype. Well, kind of the hero archetype, because technically there's 5 hero archetypes, and we're going to be talking about one specific hero archetype that really has never gotten a lot of love from Konami, which is really kind of sad because this is one of my most favorites, and that is Evil Heroes. Now, Evil Heroes, for those who don't know, were played in the TV show by Jaden whenever he turns evil, or was brainwashed. Can't really remember very much about it. I just remember he went evil for a bit, and he started using these guys. Basically, what the Evil Heroes are, they are pumped up more powerful versions of the original heroes. Like Inferno Wing is Flame Wingman, Inferno Sniper is Rampart Blaster, Lightning Golem is an evil version of Thunder Giant, Wild Cyclone is I can't remember his name, but he looks like Wild Cyclone. And then there are a few original evil heroes, that being Malicious Fiend, Dark Gaia, Inferno Gainer, and Inferno Prodigy. But aside from Prodigy, Gainer, Dark Gaia, and Malicious Fiend, all the evil heroes are just upgraded versions of the original heroes. Now, that being said, they also require the same fusion requirements. Like Inferno Wing still requires Burstinatrix plus Avian. Wild Cyclone requires Wild Heart and Avian. So, really, what is one of the biggest hindrances to this deck is the simple fact that they need the original 4 or 5, if you count Wild Heart, original heroes from the main deck. And now, if you're wondering like what you use to go into these guys, you don't use polymerization. You use Dark Fusion. Dark Fusion says, send from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard the fusion material monsters that are listed on a Fiend-type fusion monster card, then special summon that fusion monster from your extra deck. This special summon is treated as a fusion summon. The special summon monster cannot be targeted by your opponent's spells, traps, or card effects this turn. Dark Fusion is really, really good. And if we ever get another Fiend-type fusion-oriented deck, aside from Fluffles, because they're so oriented on polymerization, Dark Fusion could really be used in those as well, because it doesn't specify a dark evil hero. And ironically enough, they're not all dark. Heck, I don't think any of them are dark. So, really, this is a really good card. However, you can only play 3 of it. Now, there is Dark Calling, which is basically a Miracle Fusion for the deck. But however, you can also banish from your hand. And it does not have the non-targeting clause. That non-targeting clause is really, really, really good for the deck, especially if you do it like on Wild Cyclone, because then, oh hey, your opponent can't deprison it, and heck, really, you can't do that anyways, because Wild Cyclone says your opponent can't respond to its attack. So, it's really, really good. Your opponent can't Fiendish Chain or Effect Failure your monsters that you use to fuse and summon into it. I remember whenever I was playing this, somebody tried to Effect Filler my Inferno Wing, and I'm like, no, you can't. But however, it only lasts until the end of the turn, which is really not all that great. Now, before I go into like what I think this deck really needs, I'm going to go over the cards that they do have, which I probably should have done earlier, but hey, whatever. So we have Evil Hero Malicious Edge. He is an upgraded version of Blade Edge. If your opponent controls a monster, you can tribute summon this card with 1 tribute, and he has the piercing effect. He also has the same stats and level as Blade Edge. And really, honestly, between the two, I kind of prefer this guy because, seriously, look at that. He looks awesome. He only needs 1 tribute, too, if your opponent has a monster. Then there's Inferno Gainer. This guy, there's some OTKs around him, even in other decks. So during your main phase 1, you can banish this card to target 1 face-up Fiend-type monster you control. That target can attack twice during each battle phase. During your second standby phase after this effect was activated, special summon this card. This banish card in face-up attack position. So basically what Gainer allows you to do is give any of your Fiend-type monsters 2 attacks. And by the way, that's permanent. They can attack twice every single battle phase, not just the turn that you use the effect. That is amazing. And yeah, there's a reason why there's a few OTKs around this guy, because there's some very powerful Fiend-type monsters out there. And then we have Inferno Prodigy. He basically just summons Malicious Edge. He's a Cyber Dragon, and during the end of the turn, if he was tributed to summon out a tribute summon to hero, he get to draw a card. Yeah, he's not that bad in some hero decks that actually that are more that like play the old heroes and stuff. That some of them need tributing and stuff. But however, really what he's here for is to go into malicious Seds, because you special summon him while your opponent has a monster, and you tribute it off, summon out him. And then of course we already went over Dark Fusion and Dark Calling. By the way, I love the artwork of Dark Fusion. Just saying. So now the fusion monsters. Evil Hero Malicious Fiend. This guy is arguably the strongest, although we'll get into how Dark Gaia can be stronger here in a second. So, Malicious Fiend, Evil Hero Malicious Edge, plus 1 level 6 or higher Fiend type fusion monster. All of them have the clause that they must be special summoned with Dark Fusion. And by the way, if you're wondering, Dark Calling treats itself as Dark Fusion whenever it's being used. During your opponent's battle phase, all monsters they control are changed to attack position, and each monster they control must attack this card if able. This guy's got 3,500 attack power. Okay, that is really, really powerful. Forcing your opponent to attack it. They can't attack your weaker evil heroes because honestly, all the evil heroes have kind of crappy stats aside from like Lightning Golem. So the fact that your opponent must attack this guy, he's really good. Although you do kind of have to use another evil hero to go into him. Usually, whenever I'm playing this deck, I usually use Dark Calling and use a dead evil hero to go into him. Then we have Evil Hero Wild Cyclone. He needs Avion and Wild Heart. Must be spell summoned with Dark Fusion. It cannot be spell summoned by other ways. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, destroy all face-down spell and trap cards your opponent controls. This thing has 1900 attack, 2300 defense. He would be a lot better if those stats were switched. Having only 1900 attack, he does not get very many pokes in. But however, as you can tell from that effect, he can be devastating to your opponent if your opponent has a crap ton of face downs because they can't respond to his attack. And if he does battle damage, bang, they all go to the grave. He's a walking heavy storm. And then we have Evil Hero Dark Gaia. 1 Fiend type monster plus 1 Rock type monster, same summoning clause. The original attack of this card is equal to the combined original attack of the fusion material monsters used to fusion summon it. When this card declares an attack, you can change all defense position monsters your opponent controls to face-up attack position flip effects are not activated at this time. So, what's good about this thing? Well, if you fuse a high attack power Fiend type monster, like, I don't know, Ravael or Lord of Phantasms, with a high attack power rock type monster, like, I don't know, Valkyrion, you can have this thing at 7,000 attack or higher and do a crap ton of damage to your opponent. And keep in mind, if you summoned it off of Dark Fusion, your opponent cannot target it. So, yeah, this is arguably the only real evil hero that has ever done anything. Back whenever Evil Heroes first came out, there was a Dark Gaia OTK deck that was running around that was doing quite well, actually. And you still see it every now and then online. But you don't really see it very often, and it's kind of sad because it's a very, granted it is a lot, it's very much a linear deck, but it is kind of also a pretty good, fun deck to play. Then we have Evil Hero Lightning Golem, Sparkman plus Clayman, plus Clayman. Once per turn, you can pop a monster on the field. Much better than Thunder Giant, which needed you to discard, and also the opponent's monster's original attack had to be, what was it, higher or lower than his? I believe it's lower. So, yeah, he's much better than Thunder Giant. Infernal Wing is honestly my favorite, because Flame Wingman's one of my favorite heroes, and Infernal Wing is an upgraded version of Flame Wingman. So, Avion and Burstinatrix. If it attacks, it does piercing. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to either the attack or defense, whichever is higher, of the destroyed monster in the graveyard. This is a very, very powerful effect. It's again just an upgraded version of Flame Wingman's, and it not only does piercing, but it also does that burn effect. But however, it does it equal to the attack or defense, whichever is higher. That is really, really good. I once had a game where I was dueling against I forgot what I was dueling against, but they had an Ancient Fairy Dragon out. I attacked into it with this, it had Fusion Weapon equipped onto it, ran over it, and my opponent took 3,000 damage from the effect. This can be really, really, really powerful. But again, that 2,100 attack, one of the big things that really limits this deck is how weak the fusion monsters are in terms of attack power. Granted, their effects are amazing, and we haven't even got to Infernal Sniper yet. But really, aside from these two over here, who can get to a strong, well, he has a very high attack power, but he can get to astronomical. I don't think I said that right, but he can get really, really high up. And however, these guys, they aren't that great in attack power. Now, granted, Infernal Sniper not supposed to be an attack. It has 2,500 defense. It's Rampart Blaster. Now, needs Clayman with Personigetrix. This card cannot be destroyed by spell cards. That is a hilarious card. I can't even tell you how many times people have tried to Regeki it, and it doesn't do anything. During each of your standby phases, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. This card must be in face-up defense position to activate and resolve this effect. This is a much improved effect over Rampart Blaster. Rampart Blaster, for those who don't know, needs the same fusion materials, has the same attack power and defense. It can attack while in defense, but only if your opponent controls no monsters, and if you do, it inflicts damage equal to half of its original attack power, which is only 1,000. So, not only does this thing just have to be in defense, it can't be destroyed by spells, but however, it just pops your opponent for 1,000 damage each turn. Theoretically, if you make this first turn and you can protect it, you can burn your opponent in 8 turns to death, which I find really hilarious. It also does not have to attack, which is really nice. Now, granted, you can summon in defense, let you do the burn damage, and then switch it to attack mode and then attack. But however, you have to wait a full turn for all that. So, what does this deck need? Like, what does it really need? Well, first and foremost, I feel like it needs more fusion monsters because there are a crap ton of heroes, and they could really go wild with the designs of these. I honestly want to see what other heroes would look like in an evil, twisted form. But, however, one of the big things that really also limits this deck, aside from the weak attack of the monsters, that can be overlooked if the rest of the meat of the deck is good. And that is the fact that you have to play these guys. Okay, now granted, Wild Heart's relatively good. Okay, he's unaffected by trap cards. That's a pretty good effect. But however, the fact that you have to play the original 4 heroes, Sparkman, Clayman, Personigetrix, Avion, as much as these guys are as close to my heart because this was my childhood here, they're not good. Okay, if this deck, if Konami were to ever want this deck to be meta, which I doubt because they haven't even really looked at evil heroes in years, they would have to do something about these guys. And the best, easiest way that I can think of is to have retrained versions of all of the original heroes, treat them as the original counterparts, like have, I don't know, Elemental Hero Rockman. It's always treated as Clayman or something. And give them something that makes them worth playing. Heck, you can have them have the exact same stats and everything. Just beat them an effect monster, slightly different name, but treat it as the original. And then, that way, you can have them have something else. Like, let's say you have an upgraded version of Personigetrix, and let's say its effect would be always treated as Elemental Hero Personigetrix. If it's used for a fusion summon, the fusion monster gets 1,000 attack or something. That would be amazing. That would be really, really good. Okay? Can you imagine having a 3,100 Inferno Wing? Or, I don't know, something like with Avion. Let's say you have an upgraded version of Avion, treated as the original Avion, and, I don't know, it gives it to where unaffected by spells during the battle phase or something. I don't know. But, like, if you just give them something to where they give the benefits, some kind of benefits to the fusion monsters that you use to fusion summon them into, that would just be really, really good. Like, heck, that'd even benefit the original heroes, as then, oh, hey, you could have a 3,100 Flamewing Man. Granted, though, will Konami ever do this? I really doubt it. I mean, they did give more support to masked heroes, so who knows, maybe we'll get lucky and they'll be like, hey, let's give support to evil heroes. People seem to like heroes. Now, they have gotten some kind of indirect support in recent years, and also some other support. Now, because all the main deck monsters, aside from these guys over here, are elemental heroes, you can use E-Call to search them out. Shadow Mist can grab anybody since it just says hero. Miracle Fusion, all the E-hero stuff helps them, so like Prisma, Miracle Fusion, Fifth Hope if you want to play it, and stuff like that really does help them out. Fusion Conscription and Fusion Reserve, 2 relatively recent cards that were intended to be used in fusion-oriented decks, which this is, really help this deck out. Fusion Conscription says reveal a fusion monster from your extra deck, and if you do, add one of the fusion materials listed on it from your deck to your hand. but however, it cannot be summoned or activate its effects this turn. So that's really good. You can, like, I don't know, e-call for a Burstinatrix, Fusing Inscription for an Avion, activate Dark Fusion, go, go, go. But however, and basically Reserve is also the same thing, but also has a nice little adding of, like, you don't have to wait, like, you don't have, like, it doesn't restrict the monster that you search, and also it lets you get back a poly from your graveyard if it's in there. But however, the biggest flaw with this is, like, even I could deal with not having any retrained versions of monsters. I could deal with that. The biggest flaw with this deck is you cannot get Dark Fusion or Dark Calling to your hand from your deck or graveyard. Once you use it, it's in the graveyard, and there's no way to easily get it to your hand. There is Sabatiel, the Philosopher's Stone, but however, that card is way too situational and way too hard. Like, it's way too difficult to get its effect going. First of all, you have to draw, and then you also have to have a Winged Karibo in your graveyard. There is another way to search out Dark Fusion, but however, it's a Synchro Fusionist. If you don't know what that is, it's a level 2 monster with like 800 attack, 1200 defense, or something like that. If it's used for a Synchro Summon, you can go and add any Fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. That is terrible, okay? You gotta, like, play a tuner in here, which it's just, there's too much stuff that you have to go through to search out Dark Fusion or Dark Calling, which, by the way, Dark Calling is not even searchable. You have to search for Dark Fusion and hope you draw into Dark Calling. Um, it just is way too ridiculous. Okay, we have a million ways to search out all these guys over here. We don't have any way to search out Dark Fusion and Dark Calling easily and consistently. We have a million different ways to search out Polymerization. The fact that we only have 2 ways to search out Dark Fusion, and they're not even all that great for the deck, is just really, really stupid, and really limits the deck. So, if Konami were to ever even consider giving this deck more support, one thing to consider, retrain versions of these guys. Main thing I want to see, some way to search out Dark Fusion and Dark Calling without very much. Like, I don't know, maybe an evil hero that you contribute off to add a Dark Fusion or Dark Calling. Something simple like that would go so much in helping this deck out. I swear, guys, this is a really fun deck to play. But however, in terms of competitivity, it's never going to be anything until Konami really wants to make this deck good. And I have a theory that we might see them get more support if anybody in ArcV plays it, because I've been hearing rumors that Yuri might be playing some version of Heroes, which would be a real throwback to GX, which would be really awesome. But however, that's the only way I can really see them possibly giving more support to Evil Heroes. They were only used for a short time in the anime, so there weren't many cards in the deck. I remember Jaden used Super Polymerization to go into Malicious Fiend, but however, that's the anime version of Malicious Fiend. They don't really have any cards in the anime, see, no anime cards. We got everything from the anime. And Jaden didn't turn evil in the manga, so we didn't get any more evil heroes in there. Or at least, to my knowledge, he didn't turn evil or anything. So, really, this deck is, the likelihood of it getting more support really balances out to if Konami wants to give more, like, if they want to bring up the other hero archetypes to a relatively equal playing field. To an extent. Now, with that being said, I still have fun playing this deck, but however, the sheer fact that you have to go through a hoop and a hurdle to really do much of anything, and you have to really fight for your wins, because, again, these guys are very, very weak. Although Lightning Golem is amazing. Being able to just freely pop anything without any drawback is amazing. This deck really needs help, is what I'm trying to say. Konami is going to have to put a lot of work into upgrading this deck if they ever do want to actually bother with it again. So guys, tell me what you think. Do you like Evil Heroes? Do you think Konami should bother trying to give it more support? Do you think that we might see it again in the anime sometime? Or do you think that we might see it get more support in general? Do you think it's possible or likely, or do you think Konami just doesn't care about older archetypes anymore? Granted, though, they have been showing support to older archetypes in recent memory, well, in recent years, but however, you never really know. So, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any recommendations for another Blast to the Past video, let me know in the comments. I always try to read the comments. unless freaking YouTube decides not to tell me that I got a comment. So guys, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Peace out.